So let us get into the word. Today we are going to be talking about peace and patience. And when I first heard that I was going to be talking about peace and patience, I was the first person to say that I should be the last person to talk about peace and patience. Who in here needs some patience? I know. Listen, me and Seika, we will skip going to Disney World if we see that the lines are too long. Anybody like that? It's like, man, I just ain't even gonna go, bro. Ain't even no point in going. If I pull up to Chick-fil-A and there's like 4 cars, I'm like, man, I ain't even really that hungry, bro. You know, my stomach growling. I'm not even really that hungry. But that's me, man. I don't know about y'all. I'm just, and sometimes I be the worst person about peace, man. Somebody will say something sideways. Anybody like me, if somebody says something sideways in your mind, you're like, bro, if I gave them a good smack, they wouldn't talk to me like this. Anybody like that? Am I the only one? So y'all save, my bad. I'm the person in here that needs to get saved. But when I was asked to talk about peace and patience, the thing that I love about peace and patience and every fruit of the Spirit is the fruits of the Spirit, they're a choice. They're a choice. 90% of the time, you can choose to love somebody even if they're getting on your nerves, right? It's a choice. You can choose to love them. You can choose to have joy, right? You can choose that. Even in bad situations, you can choose to have joy. You can choose to have peace. When things are going crazy, sometimes it's a mindset that you have to have peace in your mind, or patience, or any of the fruits of the Spirit. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start right at the gate in Galatians 5, and we're going to read the fruits of the Spirit. And I'm sure most of y'all already know this as I open up my iPad to get all of my notes. We're going to go over it. So, hey, and listen, can we give it up for the worship team? Worship team, man. Hey, they going to take us to the throne of grace like that? They better watch out. They did so good. So proud of those guys. And, before we go there, fine arts. I want to talk about fine arts. Great job to everybody who was in fine arts. And listen, next year, I need more people to sign up. Fine arts has a 3-on-3 basketball that plays. They have a pickleball that plays. Pickleball, bruh. They have a Super Smash Brothers tournament in fine arts. Man, they got NBA 2K tournament in fine arts. Listen, they got e-games. So if you're good at this kind of stuff, let us know. And not only that, the normal human videos, we need people who can dance. We need some people who got rhythm so we can do unconventional percussion. Oh, yeah, we're going to do it all next year. So prep your mind. We're going to win next year, right? All right, good. All right, if you're with me, shout yeah. Come on, if you're with me, shout yeah. So let's turn to Galatians 5:22. If you got your Bibles, you can turn to Galatians 5:22. It'll be on the screen so we can read it together. And this first part is just going to tell us this first little half of the fruits of the Spirit. And it says this: but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. I don't think I gave them the second verse. We're going to stay right here for now because these are the ones that we're going to talk about. There's some more outside of this, but we're going to stay right here for now, okay? So this first half of it is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Today we're going to talk about peace and patience. The thing that I love about peace and patience is they kind of go together. You know, they're kind of one and the same. So if you have a lot of peace, it's probably because at some point in your life you needed patience. And if you have a lot of patience, it's probably because at some point in your life you needed a lot of peace. So if you're somebody that needs peace or patience, just prepare yourself and remember that it is a choice. There's a couple of types of peace that I want to talk about just briefly. We have something called internal peace. Everybody say internal. So internal peace, this is something that deals with your mind. This is for those who may deal with anxiety, those who may deal with depression or something like that. These are things that internally we may not can see that you need peace on the inside. It may be something going on even physically on the inside of your body. You may be sick or something like that. And this is where you don't have peace on the inside. So me looking at you, you look normal, but there may be some stuff that's going on. So if you deal with anxiety or depression or something like that, you may need internal peace. Everybody say external peace. External peace is the things that we deal with on the day-to-day. So if we look at what's going on in the world, whether there's wars or the tsunamis and hurricanes and stuff like that, and sometimes that can cause unrest. You can be nervous. I know that when the hurricane came through, was it last year? Was it last year, 2 years ago? Whenever it was. When the hurricane came through, everybody was a little bit nervous about, should I stay? Should I go? Should I leave? Should I hunker down? Should I put wood over the windows? Should I get sandbags? Everybody is a little bit nervous. And what that is an external piece that we really can't control. We're just part of it, all right? And so with these different types of peace that we need, we know that we can always turn to Jesus, and we have to pray and we have to ask. And because he is the Prince of Peace, he was prophesied to be the Prince of Peace, the wonderful counselor, the mighty God. We sing those things when it comes Christmas time, and we talk about, him being the Prince of Peace. And we understand that he is also what Sarah was saying, Pastor Sarah was saying, about him being shalom, shalom, meaning just complete and total peace. That's peace on the inside, the outside. There's peace everywhere. And so when we keep moving forward in our day-to-day lives, we're going to always encounter external things that need peace, and we're also going to encounter internal things that need peace. So when I got ready to decide, okay, what do I talk about to these kids when it comes to peace? Because I understand that a lot of y'all are dealing with a lot of things that I probably never had to deal with. Growing up, some of you guys I was sitting here praying about it, and I was like, God, man, just show me some of the things that they may be dealing with. And not everybody has both parents at home. Not everybody in here goes to bed with a full stomach. Not everybody is going to go home till the lights are on. Not everybody is going to go home with running water. Not everybody is going to go home with shoes, like 10 pairs of shoes and all the clothes that you can wear. Not everybody has clean anything. And I was like, God, there's so many kids. How do I pinpoint talking about peace to somebody? And can I be honest? Is it okay if I'm honest with you guys? Can I be just completely honest? And I'm talking about 100%. I'm going to pour it out. Growing up, I had friends, and I'm going to just be honest. Growing up, I had friends that would come to school, and they would sell paraphernalia. They would just sell things at school, and it wasn't for them. It was so that they could have enough money to keep the lights on at their house. And I said, God, how can I preach to students? And I've never had to really walk that life. Like, I've had issues. I've had my own issues. And some of y'all know what it's like to have the police follow you around. Or you may be in the store and people are watching you saying, hey, what is he doing? What is he doing over there? What is she doing? What are they doing over there? And they always think that you're up to no good. You may have, your teachers may always think, man, they're up to no good. They're not smart, this, that, and the other. And I get it. Like, I really do get it. And I said, God, how do I talk to kids and tell them about peace? And they're going through these things. As young kids, there's so much pressure of the world put on them to perform. You got to act. You got to be the best. But they're not given the tools that they need to move forward. And I said, God, where do I start? Where do I start in telling them about peace and the Prince of Peace? How do I give them the instruction to move forward? And so in my prayer and talking, and I talked to like some old students that I had, and I just said, okay, what was one of the best things that resonated with you? And everybody knows this. When it comes to the fruit of the Spirit, if you think about an actual fruit tree, if you think of like an apple tree, or if you think of like orange vineyards or something like that, if I take an apple and I take the seed out of an apple, and I plant it in the ground, and it grows, what type of tree should I get? An apple tree. This is easy. If I take an orange, and I take the seed out of the orange, and I put it in the ground, and I plant it, what should I get? Orange. If I take a watermelon, and I take the seed out of a watermelon and I plant it, what should I get? I should get more watermelons. So when it comes to the fruits of the Spirit, if you think of them like fruits, if you need peace in your life, you should probably start by planting peace everywhere you go. Y'all feel me? I didn't go over anybody's head, y'all. Some of y'all, none of y'all are bald-headed, so y'all should have felt that. If you need patience, it may come by planting patience. And what do I mean by planting? Everybody in here has got friends. Everybody's got friends. And your friends are going through things that you probably know about and you may not know about. It may be your job to where they get stirred up, you help them out. When you go home, you don't know what your parents have been through, and they may be mad at you and all that stuff. They're probably working a 9-to-5 job. When they get home, they're tired. They're hungry. Their feet hurt. Their back hurt. What you should be is peace. You should help bring peace to the situation. You shouldn't be talking back. Shouldn't be yelling back. They're probably doing all they can to provide for you. And it's your job. It's your job to help plant that peace for them. Hey, Mom, how can I help you? You want me to clean the dishes? I got you. Hey, Dad, I'll cut the grass today. I got you. Don't worry about it. Hey, if you can drive, hey, just give me some money. I'll go fill up the car so you don't have to worry about it. What that's doing is planting peace in other people's lives. So at some point when it comes time for people to plant peace into your life, you'll have the people there to help you out. If you need patience, there may come a time where you see your homeboy getting ready to throw hands. You be like, hey, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. This is gonna be a long road if you go down that one. This ain't it. Have patience. Don't you see the teacher is yelling at somebody? It's like, hey, man, calm down. This ain't it. So let's turn into the Bible. There's a couple of stories that I want to talk about, but the first one I want to talk about is the woman with the issue of blood. We're going to turn to Mark 5:22 through 34. This is a lot of scriptures. It's a lot of scriptures. So hang with me. We're going to read fast, so don't listen slow. All right? We're going to read fast, so don't listen slow. Oh, bet we can all read it together. Here we go. It says, then came one of the rulers of the synagogue. All right, now dude's name is either Jairus or Jairus. I've heard it called both ways growing up, but what we gonna do is we gonna call Buddy J. And this is, listen, listen, if y'all got hard names, just understand I'm gonna give you a nickname. All right, if your name is DeMonte Quay, I'm probably gonna call you D. Just is what it is. All right, so Jairus, I've heard it called both ways. We're going to call him J. It says Jairus by name, and seeing him, he fell at his feet. And he's talking about seeing Jesus. He fell at his feet and implored him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her so that she may be made well and live. All right. Next verse, here we go. And he went with him, and a great crowd followed him. This is Jesus. A great crowd is following Jesus and thronged about him. And there was a woman who had had a discharge of blood for 12 years, and who had suffered much under many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. She had heard the reports about Jesus, and came up behind him in the crowd, and touched his garment. For she said, if I touch even his garments, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. And Jesus, perceiving in himself that power had gone out from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, who touched my garments? And his disciples said to him, you see the crowd pressing around you, and yet you say, who touched me? And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. Will you keep this on the screen? Keep this on the screen. This woman, obviously, we just read, she was suffering with a discharge of blood for 12 years. Who in here is 18? Think about it. You 6 years off. 6 years away from, that means out of your entire life. If you're 18, she's been dealing with it for 12 years. So out of your entire life, you got to think there would only be 6 years that you wouldn't have to deal with what she's dealing with. And so if you're not 18, that number only is going to get smaller. She's been dealing with it for 12 years. And this is what happens. Jesus is getting ready to go and heals Jay's daughter, all right? While he's on the way there, the crowd starts to pull up on him. And I don't know how this happens because they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have Snapchat. They didn't have IG. But for some reason, everybody found out that Jesus was getting ready to go from one place to the other place. And in that pathway, everybody thought, if I can get to Jesus, if I can see Jesus, maybe that I can get the thing that I've been asking for. And so this is what this woman is doing. She heard, hey, Jesus is going to be going over there. I need to try to get to him. While she's trying to get to him, there's such a large crowd that she has to crawl to try to touch the hem of his garments. One of the songs that I love by SEU is partly about this story. If the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I have it all. This woman knew if I can just get to just the bottom, if I could just touch his heel, just his garments, I can be made whole. And this is the thing. It's not only will she be made whole in her body, but you got to think for 12 years, she's been battling in her mind. Am I going to die? Am I ever going to be healed? The doctors don't know. I've paid all the money I can. I've seen every specialist. Nobody knows what's wrong. So it's not enough just to be healed physically. She probably needs to be healed mentally. So she has something externally that we can all see because she's discharging blood. And then she's also dealing with something internally that we cannot see. And as she's crawling and she's trying to get to Jesus, she finally touches the hem of his garment. And when she touches the hem of his garment, she's made whole. It says immediately. Immediately, her discharge dried up. So in that moment, externally, she had peace because her body is whole. But as we can see, she still had fear. She still was scared because it says when Jesus turned to look at her, she was still in fear of what had done. And she had to tell the truth and say, hey, man, it was me who touched you. And all of that, and Jesus heals her just through the touch of his garments. He then says something that I think is amazing. Daughter, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace. Jesus knew, he didn't have to say the go in peace part. He knew that she had been struggling with this for so long. 12 years. Some of you in here have been struggling with stuff since your birth. Since birth. There's things that you're dealing with. And it may not be external, it may be internal. And you just need Jesus to tell you, go in peace. Sometimes we want the internal peace more than the external. God, I'm tired of having nightmares. God, I'm tired of thinking that I'm not good enough. God, I'm tired of this. And we need Jesus just to say, go in peace. Look at God. Woke y'all up. Some of y'all was asleep. Y'all need to wake up. The thunder happened. The thing that I love about this story is that Jesus not only healed her externally, but he also healed her internally. And so many of us deal with things on the inside of our mind. But the part that I want to hang out on is the crowd, all right? She's in the midst of a crowd, and you're telling me that out of all those people, didn't nobody think to say, I can see her externally hurting. Let me help her get to Jesus. Because sometimes in our life, we're so focused on one thing, and it's good that they were focused on Jesus. I just feel like if I seen somebody and I knew that they needed a touch from Jesus, I just feel like I would go back and be like, come on, bro, let's go. Some of you need to get your friends and say, come on, let's go. Instead of stepping over people and stepping on people to try to get where you need to be, you need to say, come on, sis, let's go. We're going to church. Come on, sis, we're going to go pray. Come on, sis, we're going to do that. And it is your job. It is your job to sometimes just plant peace into somebody else's life. Because this woman right here, instead of having to only get to just the hem of his garment, imagine if the crowd would have teamed up and said, all of us together, let's get her to Jesus. There's another story in the Bible where a man is paralyzed in Mark 2. Mark 2, it's earlier. It's just right before this in Mark 2. A man is paralyzed and he got 4 friends. All he needed was 4 friends to put him on a mat. And they heard that Jesus was on the inside of a house. They couldn't get inside the house because it was piked out. And if you from Louisiana, y'all say piked out. P-I-K-E-D, piked out. It was packed in the house. They couldn't get him on the inside, so you know what? They came up with a scheme. They said, if all of us get up on the roof and we rip the roof off, we can get our friend to Jesus. See, I want to be the type of person that says, hey, if my friend is paralyzed and he needs some peace, man, I'll do whatever I got to do to get him there. I don't want to be just like another person in the crowd that is stepping on people trying to get something. If I see somebody that needs something, I want to be the type of person to help them get that, because that's me sowing peace. And eventually, that peace hopefully will come back and it'll touch me. Maybe it'll touch somebody that's close to me. And that's what I want us to get to today, is that a lot of times when we talk about peace, it's so me. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Sometimes you just need to be somebody else's peace. Sometimes you need to be your parents' peace. I'm going to get my wife to come up here really quickly. Come on up here, Seika. And this is a quick testimony of how you can help somebody else be peace. Now, who in here wants to be married someday? Raise your hand. I pray you get married to the perfect person, all right? I pray that you get married to the person who brings you peace, all right? I'm going to give you just a little quick story about me and Seika. Seika ended up, and she got on the shirt. She didn't even know I was going to be talking about the woman with the issue of blood until I saw her with this shirt, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. But Seika went through a kidney transplant, all right? Some of y'all may know that. Some of y'all may not know that. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'll let you tell that for a different day. But she went through a kidney transplant. While she was going through this, it's not my job to be a jerk. Y'all feel me? It's not my job to be mean. When people are going through things, just because, baby, where the food at? Nah, I ain't doing none of that. Baby, why cut the game on? Why the clothes not clean? Man, come on, bro. Really? Like, that's not the time nor the place. When you have people that are going through things, and she was going through her kidney transplant and she was having to do dialysis at home, that's not the time to start complaining, because she's already dealing with so much internally and externally. It was my job to just bring peace. This is oh yeah, you better love on me. But this is just a small example of how we can be peace for somebody else, because you don't know what people are going through. And if God has placed the fruits of the Spirit and the Holy Spirit on the inside of you, if my wife needs peace, by God, I'm gonna be the greatest peace that she ever has. Maybe not all the time, but at least during that time, I was trying to be her peace genuinely. And guess what? It works vice versa. I may come home and say, man, like I'm dealing with some stuff, I don't know what's going on. She can just look at me and say, hey, I see what's going on. This ain't the time to be yelling. This ain't the time to be arguing. That's what the old folks say. They say arguing. So many of you in here are going to go home, and you're going to look your parents in the eyes. And I want you to do this. I genuinely want you to do this. I want you to look your parents in the eyes, and instead of being like the crowd where we step over people and we don't allow them to get what they need, I want us to be like the four friends who ripped the roof off. I want us to be somebody's peace. I want us to be somebody's patience. I don't want us to cause chaos, not in our classroom, not on the field, not on the court. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do it in the church. We're not going to do it in the parking lot. We're not going to do it when we leave the sanctuary. We're going to bring peace everywhere we go. It would have been easy for me. Oh, thank you. You just up here. You just hold me down right now. Thank you. But it would have been easy for me. It would have been easy for me to come up here and just easily say, and talk about Isaiah and the types of peace and Jehovah Shalom and stuff like that. And I wanted to go that direction, but when I was praying, I was like, man, there's a bunch of kids in here who need to start showing the fruit of the Spirit. It's not enough just to know it. You should start showing it after a while. When you plant the seed, after a while, it should start growing, amen? So in everything you do, your teacher should know that that person's a peacemaker. That person brings patience. I don't have to, God bring the thunder and God bring the rain, amen? Come on now. We should know that when I look at you, when they say, man, those kids are acting up, I should know it ain't that person. That person don't do that. I should know, hey, I can send you over there and you can calm that. You can bring a peace to that. That's what Jesus does. When Jesus is living on the inside of you, you should bring peace. The same way that he talked to the storm and the waves, peace, be still. You should be the type of person that can walk into a room and peace should come over you. So, as we get ready to go into a time of worship, as the worship team comes back up, I want all of us to not only dig into this song and dig into what this song means. We're getting ready to sing Tremble. I love that song, Tremble. I want us to think about ways in our lives where we can go back home and we can go to school and we can be in locker rooms and we can be on the field. We can be wherever it may be at work, in the car, outside, and say, how can I bring peace to the situation? How can I bring patience and peace to all situations? So if you don't mind, let's all stand together. Let's all stand together and let's get ready to go into this time of worship.